When I hear it coming up like that, I just know that things are gonna end bad. When my body only moves for the beat, you've been waiting for me. I'll just keep dropping it, like there's no stopping it. Then walk with it, la 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 la.
There are some new, exciting design trends taking over 2025. And I know I say this every year, but this year, it's different. I'll show you just 3 main trends, and then, at the end, I'll show you a couple of obvious sub-trends that stayed and remained from the previous years. From the 3 main trends, the third one is gonna be the most important one for the year to come, and by a pretty large margin. Then, I'll show you some anti-trends that are going away in 2025. But what's interesting, some startups and some designers are still trying to explore these trends. What a waste of time. There is still room and there's still space for very visual, slightly overdone web experiences. It is, however, a very delicate balance between being cool for designers and actually useful and converting for clients. Nice animations can enhance the experience and not overwhelm when done right, like in this example. Visual access can work well if you do your own visuals, like in this case. Imagine this website with AI-generated images. It quickly would get annoying. This proves that some scroll hijacking can still work for showcasing physical products. Just make sure that these are all real photos. And that's also the case with this cute device, the Tiny Pod. The Daylight computer takes it a little bit too far at times with how overwhelming it can be, but it balances on the edge of useful and annoying. It really made me want to have this product, but it also did annoy me how a lot of the scroll direction changes while you're using the site. You sometimes scroll down and sometimes it scrolls to the side. This is confusing. Apple still does that very well, obviously, but I don't know if you noticed that they went a lot more subtle in their most recent products. It's a lot less animated and overwhelming as a whole now. And crazy heavy animation makes sense for, wait for it, an animation studio. Yes, that's one of the examples where the websites like that will make sense. Bento grids are still in and are being pushed by big brands like Apple, Samsung, or Nothing. They are a cool way to show different kinds of content organized within containers. And if you do them right, they can guide you through the way that you should be reading them. A bad example is if you use that AI-generated BS content and just fill your containers with that. But it's pretty easy to spot, and yeah, that just doesn't work. For a bento to work, it has to be balanced, not too content heavy. So a great bento is one that merges simple text fields with more advanced visuals together in a way that doesn't overwhelm you. Bento grids are often merged with nice micro interactions and non-grid sections like in this lovely example. There are also websites that are entirely bento, like in these 2 examples. And this is my favorite bento of the year. Notice how in every section, a visually heavy box is always next to a simple one with mostly text. Bentos can also show a larger scale overview of multiple functionalities like here, and they should always use contrast to nicely divide information into easily digestible clusters. Now this is the trend to follow. Conversion-focused traditional structures. As opposed to making designers salivate over a fancy transition, the real trend of 2025 will be all about converting your website visitors into paying customers. Here are some of my favorite examples. Classic website structure of a left-aligned headline, clearing doubts and clearly marked action. It ditches effects and trends and instead goes for clarity. Clear and concise copy with the under CTA checkmarks to remove friction. There is a free trial and you can watch a demo before committing. This is how you do it. This is an example of a story-driven, engaging website that uses visuals to amplify the messaging and has that messaging nailed completely. Also, there is no fluid scroll or scroll hijacking. Even though it animates, it doesn't overwhelm. Buffer also does it well with friction removal below the CTA and a much simplified visual on the side just showing the main couple of metrics. Now, let's talk about 3 trends that are going away this year. Good riddance. The second and third one especially make me really happy. Brutalism had a good run, but it didn't really stick. Only a handful of bigger websites, namely Gumroad and Figma, decided to stick to that trend and stay with it. Everybody else redesigned. That's because it's really difficult to make a product feel premium and powerful and trustworthy using a style that is ugly on purpose. Next to that, there are some good examples here, like this one. This is another semi-brutalist example that also merges in bento grids. This style is not gonna work for most brands. Number 2. Cognitive overload, and I'm really happy about that. Animation and decoration overload quickly gets tiring and decreases conversion. We're also back to websites loading faster. If your website needs a preloader, then you might be doing it wrong. This is a beautiful experience. It also feels so nice, but I think it fails as a website. You walk through a 3D landscape as a rabbit, and the novelty quickly wears off. It's not really a website, it pretends to be a video game, but I have no idea what they're selling, and after a while I don't care. It is beautiful though. This is also a really beautiful and complex and artsy but completely overwhelming example. It will impress designers, but not necessarily the customers. Another example is this animated shoe presentation where you scroll to play the video. No matter if it's a real product or not, if I want to watch a video, I usually click a play button. Scrolling sites with changing perspectives are extremely annoying. Now I'm gonna snap my fingers and I'm gonna reappear in the last anti-trend. It's like magic, only a little bit more cringe. Ready? AI backgrounds are everywhere on social media. It reminds me of the shiny dribble syndrome from back in the day, but this time you don't need any skills to make them. You just type in a prompt into a box. At least back in those dribble days, you had to manually create those fancy but useless visuals. Now it's just kind of a slop. So we end up with pretty stupid concepts like clouds everywhere or lighting effects that don't contribute anything to amplify the message of the website. And blobs, yeah, lots of blobs. 99% of those have nothing to do with the product or service, they're just here to look nice. The good thing is that very few actual websites are using these trends. I'm really happy that they mostly remain some no-code templates and not really an actual website. Things like glassmorphism, big typography, and photos of people are obviously staying. They are a natural part of web design and they're not gonna go anywhere. But these aren't really trends anymore. They became a part of the toolkit. The best part about all this and 2025 is that the web is healing a little bit. People aren't really going as much for the shiny, but instead they actually understand the reason for a website to exist. They want it to convert, they want more customers, they want more money. Companies now ask you to track conversions, refine, optimize, tweak and modify. Loading times for websites are also very important. When people have to wait, you're gonna lose at least half of them right at this stage before they even enter the website. There is still room for creativity, going crazy, going out of the box, making an interactive experience on a website. But for 99% of businesses, this is just not the way. And if you want to learn the right path with examples like this, subscribe to my newsletter, link in the description. If you want me to help you with your website, go to squareblack.com. We are accepting our final clients for the first quarter of 2025. Which trend was your favorite? Let me know in the comments. I'm actually excited about the ones that are going away, and I'm really excited that we're back to being conversion focused, that we're back to testing and researching and exploring different ideas and concepts. Because performance both in terms of loading speed and actual conversion, is gonna be the main design trend for 2025. And that makes me really happy. And I believe because of stuff like that, we're all gonna have a beautiful day.